bad thing.
Oh, okay, sure. I'm restoring, I'm doing some restoration work on a 89 BMW.
Nice.
That's fun,
Very cool.
really involved.
All right.
Did you say he was coming?
Bruce, we've not heard.
But I mean, it's
Did
4:30,
All right.
we have a quorum, so.
Yes, sir.
He's coming in now.
There you go. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
We'll bring to order the Ada Township Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. First up is roll call. If the secretary could do roll, please.
Corte,
Here.
DeMarco,
Here.
Alex and Andrews,
Here.
McNamara,
Here.
Nuttall.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
Motion to approve the agenda by Nuttall, support by Corday. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Agenda is approved. Next is approval of the minutes from our February 3rd, 2026 regular meeting.
Move to approve the minutes.
Support?
Move to approve the minutes by Corday, supported by Nuttall. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes were approved. We have no unfinished business, so we'll move right on to new business, which is a request for variances from the required 40-foot setback for the construction of a new dwelling in an RP1 zoning district located at 8721 Conservation Street, Northeast. The applicant is Bruce Heiss of Heiss Builders. Property owner is Lindsay Combs. If the applicant could step forward to the podium, state your name, and proceed.
Yeah, so Eric Lammers, project manager with Bruce Heiss Builders, representing Bruce in his absence. You kind of teed it up, but yeah, 8721 Conservation. There's some emails back and forth. It's being considered a flag lot, which would require 40-foot setbacks on all sides. If we were to follow that, that would leave us less than 35 feet of buildable width, which would be unreasonable for a home with an attached garage to be built there. So we're requesting that our setbacks just match the RP1 for the rest of the area, which would be a total of 50, 30 on one, 20 on the other. So we will be slightly improving the setback on one side, which is currently at 19, going to 20, and then on the other side, asking for that 30-foot setback from the private drive.
Okay. Thank you. Next up is staff report.
Oh, yes, the applicant gave a pretty thorough overview of what's being requested. As he stated, they are proposing to construct a new home with an attached garage to replace an existing home, which is currently on the property. The property is approximately 1 acre. The site is fairly long and very irregularly shaped with minimal road frontage along conservation. The new home, as the applicant stated, that's proposed to be 20 feet from the east property line and 30 feet from the west property line. The ordinance requirements for a configuration as such with limited abutment of road right-of-way needs to be 40 feet from all property lines. So that's different than the conventional setback requirements per the R1 zoning district. The home's placement would meet all the other requirements from all the other setback requirements from the other property lines. As you can tell, that the applicant provided an existing and as well as proposed. The existing home is right now approximately 19.4 feet from the eastern property line, proposed at 20, so basically no change there. The major difference would be from the west property line, which the existing home is at 30 feet and is at 57.7 feet and is proposed at 30 feet. As the board's well aware, there are certain standards that need to be adhered to based on section 78-701 of the zoning ordinance. They're stated in the memo. Due to the shape and configuration of this parcel and given the placement and setbacks of the existing dwelling, the subject variance request appears to be reasonable to staff. If the zoning board of appeals determines that based on the finding of facts and the standards have been satisfied, then approval of this variance request is recommended.
You want to say anything else at this time?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Then I will open it up to any public comment. No public comment. Give an opportunity.
So we did receive one comment from the public, actually from the township supervisor, Tom Korth. He is an adjacent property owner to the subject property. Just basically summarizing, he understands that this lot is a challenge, but given the documentation, he does not believe that the record adequately shows the degree of setback relief as necessary, and that other design alternatives have not been sufficiently ruled out. For that reason, he is asking that the ZBA deny the subject request.
Okay.
Looking at the existing map and then what's being proposed, I don't see any change, I mean, there's no change to the lot lines, or, I mean, it's just a variance, or it's a change to the actual dwelling. Is that correct?
That is correct. The parcel is not changing at all. Like, as I stated, it is a fairly long and very irregularly shaped parcel with an existing home that is being requested to be torn down, demoed, and replaced with a new home. The home on the property, is my understanding, is of very poor condition currently.
Yeah, it's been abandoned for quite a while. Windows and doors are missing, and yeah.
What's the size of the current home that's there now? Square footage wise, do you have? I get that it's abandoned, but.
It's 20 by 32, approximately.
Yeah. With a walkout basement.
And the new proposed property is?
I think the biggest thing to note too is that the west elevation where we're requesting the 30 feet is not the house. Like, that is a long winding drive.
43 by 61? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I believe approximately, yes.
Okay, so we're going from 20 by 32 to 43 by 61.
What
So
were
we're-
those numbers again?
We're over doubling the size of the structure,
Of the dwelling.
of the dwelling, yes. So the existing is 20 by 32, and the proposed is 43 by 61. Is the current dwelling is, I assume, would it be considered legal non-conforming?
Yeah.
Right, because the minimum lot size in this area is, in the RP1.
It's RP1, it's a 5-acre minimum.
Okay, and this current parcel is 0.9. So it's a pretty significant change what the applicant is proposing in an already non-conforming site to go literally double non-conforming.
Well, as far as the size of the lot, I mean, since it's illegal non-conforming in terms of size, anyone could go on the property, or any property, and tear that home down and put up a new one as long as it meets all the requirements. Here, you're correct, where it's not meeting the requirements for this type of configuration of a lot, which is 40 feet from all property lines. However, as the applicant pointed out, and I'd like to remind the board too, is that they are proposing to meet all the side yard setback required, conventional ones for the RP1 zoning district, which would be 50 feet total, minimum of 20. So that's what they are proposing to meet the conventional requirements.
And then in the zoning, the way it's written now too, I'm concerned of how this is written, and maybe I'm not interpreting it correctly, but it says pretty clearly that no variance shall be granted on a lot if the owner owns the adjacent lot, and I believe the owner of this lot also does own the adjacent lot, as according to the tax records that are available to the public now.
I'm not sure if they're planning on buying both lots, but this is, they're planning, the homeowners are deceased, and this is supposed to be bought by Bruce Hayes.
So who's the owner of this lot currently?
It's currently still in.
It's currently still in the
Still
name,
in trust, currently.
in the Combs Trust.
Correct.
Okay, and who owns the adjacent parcel
The
at
trust,
8725?
the trust owns both.
Got
They
it.
own both parcels.
Therein lies my concern as well too, is in the variance, it says no variance shall be granted on a lot if the owner owns the adjacent lot. So again, I don't know how to interpret that other than in the literal sense. So those are my concerns.
What is, what's the, what are the pros and cons of one person owning both
I
lots?
guess my understanding is the intent is that if you own both, you could combine them to then, but if we were to combine them, we still would not be big enough to be a conforming RP1 lot.
Yeah.
If we combine, I think that's why the verbiage is in there, is that, well, if you own two lots, you should just combine them to build what you wanna build.
In my opinion, I share Tom's concerns, and for that, I also am leaning towards a no, as I've shared just now, as well as I agree, the lots could be combined, and I would be far more comfortable with a variance to this degree on a lot that is 0.9 plus whatever this lot is, 1 point something. Basically, I would be much more comfortable with a home of this size on what would be a 2+ acre lot and what would otherwise be a conforming 5-acre area than have 2 homes on 1 acre. You know, that just doesn't feel like it's conforming to the spirit of.
But we already have that situation. We have 2 homes on.
Right, and I'm just saying, let's not, in my opinion, is let's not make something that is already non-conforming-er.
We're so,
Mm-hmm. Because it's already non-conforming, but I'd love to hear what my fellow board members think.
Until you mentioned it, I was unaware of the provision of the zoning ordinance that you've read, or that you quoted about. Where do we find, I mean, I know I
Yeah,
got a
I'm not
copy
aware
of the zoning ordinance.
Just to clarify, that's in, section 78-107, it's actually
Like
within
the first condition of it.
it's the, yeah, the first of the criteria. But what it does say is, provided, to quote what Justin's mentioning, provided that no variance shall be granted on a lot if the owner owns the adjacent land, which could, and this is where the gray area comes in, which could, without undue hardship, be included as part of the lot in question, avoiding the need for a variance. So you get into these issues of what's an undue hardship, which is kind of what has to be answered with every variance request, really.
Is there another home on that adjacent property?
Correct.
There is an existing home on that, yeah.
So then that house would have to be torn down in order to combine the 2 properties, which I think that would be an
Correct.
undue hardship.
You're correct. You can only have 1 home on 1 property.
Only have 1 home on the property.
So you get into these issues of.
Assuming that so do you have a plan for that second home? I mean, the condition of that second home, and we're not aware of either.
I mean, that's the home they were living in, that's not the home with the problems. This was kind of, my understanding is that the home we're asking to raise on parcel 1 was more or less an abandoned storage structure for them.
is the concern, Justin, that if one person owns both lots, that they would build some ginormous dwelling? That would be, I get what you're saying, it would not be conducive to the rest of the environment. Is that what your concern is?
No, I think what you're saying, I think what Justin is saying is if you combine them, then it would only be 1 home instead of two homes.
And it would be.
But there's already
It
2
would
homes.
fit better based on setback requirements.
I don't know, again, I'm not sure I got a clear answer on what the intention is for the second home, other than that the owner is also deceased, but being familiar with the property as I am, I would assume that that home is probably gonna, with reasonable expectation, face the same fate as the existing structure that we're talking about now. I mean, sure, it's lived in, but again, if you are looking at the characteristics of the rest of the neighborhood and what is, if this does get proposed, if this does eventually get built on this lot, I'm sure that we're going to be faced with someone coming back to us, the new owner of this now adjacent lot, saying, we want to raise this home and build another one because you just did the same thing for my neighbor who's 25 feet away from me. I know that's a hypothetical, and we hate that. Sorry, John, I know it, but, you know, I'm just,
I think the second parcel does have a much better building envelope than parcel one does. though.
sure.
It's a larger.
It's a
Yeah,
lot.
based on the width.
Yes.
Yeah, it's this piece here.
And, yeah,
And Justin, may I just say, kind of like in, there's no crying in baseball, there's no sorry in ZBA, because these are interpretation questions. I've said that all
Can build
along,
an-
right?
you can build
You're doing an interpretation based on your own viewpoints, and there's nothing wrong with that.
mhm.
And I think that, you know, differences of opinion can be present
Mhm.
in a respectful way, and
Yeah.
I see nothing but respect on this board.
Yeah, no, and make no mistake, I would love for this property to get developed, but develop it with what's currently on there right now. Not go, you know, build a McMansion. That's our whole township, what's happening to us right now. And so, you know, we talk a lot about affordability and entry-level housing opportunities, and this is primed for an entry-level housing opportunity right here now. It's a unique, narrow lot. It's already got something on it that, you know, is there. No use in crying over spilt milk. I just feel really strongly that making something, I've made my point clear.
I mean, to clarify, this is a very modest
I guess, hey, this is not a
home. It's a
McMansion.
3-bedroom proposed. Part
Don't
of the
see
size
McMansion
you're
at all.
referencing and the width is because we're now including a 2-stall garage, which doesn't currently exist. And I think
Who wants a
also has to
home
be
without a
important that
garage?
we're asking to improve an abandoned structure that's currently filled with trash.
Tell me this, why hasn't Bruce Hayes,
Ice.
why didn't you guys just buy this lot?
What's that?
Why didn't you just buy this lot instead of, because now that would get us completely around this statement that if the same person owns both lots.
We intend to buy both lots. But I mean, back to the original request when we reached out to John was that even combining them is gonna require us to come back for the same process, cause it's still less than RP1, it's still a now I'm asking to combine 2 non-conformings to still have a non-conforming.
I think the undue hardship piece, I mean, to me, I can see an undue hardship.
He just said they're gonna buy the second lot.
I'm talking about in relation to the other lot. It's 2 separate dwellings, 2 separate properties owned by the same person, but to me, that just, it's not one person's home, it's 2 homes. And to tell somebody that you own 2 lots, and in order to be able to build a house on this lot, you have to tear down the house on that lot so that you can build a big enough house on one of those lots. There are 2 lots in existence. The township allowed those lines to be drawn, and there's 2 dwellings. So now they're asking for a variance due to the narrowness, and so the fact that it's a narrow lot, I believe allows us to meet condition 1, and then the caveat is that you're bringing up the fact that there's 2 that they're owned by the same person, but that statement also talks about without undue hardship. And I think there's an undue hardship there. To ask somebody to knock their house down on their other lot so that they can get a variance on the lot that they want to develop.
I can appreciate your perspective.
I think I agree with, apologies, Mr. Noto. I hate to say that. Is it on the record? No, I agree. Just,
Everything.
I understand your concern, but as I look at not only the plans for this house, this is not anything that I would refer to as a McMansion. It's not, it's a very modest home.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's just double the size of what's there now.
But the fact of the matter is that there's an existing non-conforming use that has existed for years. The other option of forcing, the only other person who could build on it would be somebody willing to knock down the existing house, or to build the equivalent of a garage. I mean, a 640 square foot building, that's a garage.
My garage is bigger than that, a lot bigger than that.
That's another reason I don't like it. No, but I mean,
So you wouldn't buy the property because it doesn't meet your needs. So I guess that's just where I keep going back to is I get it. And if I own the property, I would want to do it too, but that's really not our concern as to, not to quote Tom, but I had said it before he did, it's not really our concern to determine financial feasibility of what property owners can do. If they can turn a profit making this, this home fit the exact same building footprint of what's on there now, that's a total different story for me. And I think that is a reasonable yes. I bought a piece of property, I just want to replace what I currently bought on it. But to buy it and then come back, that's where I have some heartburn. I also have some memory of, we had a similar instance for a business owner who wanted to do something very similar up towards, what was it? Nap and Egypt, and that kind of where the convenience store area
What
is.
makes that, I just want to clarify, what makes that difference is that's a non-conforming use. This in terms is not a non-conforming use. The structure itself
True, okay,
doesn't meet the current requirements nor the lot in terms of size.
yeah.
But it's not a non-conforming use.
well, and here's the other thing to me is because of the unique shape of this property, but also if there were another house butting up right against this lot line, I'd have more concern, but I mean, we've got Winding Brook Road, Avenue, Street, whatever it is there, so you've got vacant space that way. It's not gonna impose on anybody to the, I don't know, where's north on this? So it's not gonna impose
So
anybody on
there's
the
a house
west.
right here, the other house is right there, as you see.
Yeah, but my point is the house that would be built is right about where the address is, so that's not gonna be pushing up against the neighbor.
No, yeah, it wouldn't push up against the neighbor, it would push up against the road. I don't know what the intention is for the driveway, I'm sure it's not to share the road.
We would use our existing drive. We would
Right,
not
Yeah,
ask
there's
to
an
tap into
existing-
Winding Brook.
There's an existing drive already, right?
Correct.
That runs up here?
Yep.
right.
Yeah, the intention is not to ask Winding Brook to let us tap into it. There's a natural tree line on that side of the drive already separating us.
I just think that, again, I hate to give Harvey too much credit, but I do think this is an undue.
You deserve all the credit, Harvey. Because I want my credit when I'm due.
I do think it would be an undue hardship under these circumstances, you know, especially if if the hangup is that it's owned by the same property owners, they could play games and come in here and have Bruce Hayes buy the lot and then come before us right now, and then next month buy the next lot and come before us and ask for.
Well, they are gonna buy the next lot, and they are gonna come before us and ask for a variance.
Right, but at least they're being upfront.
We
I have
don't,
a
we don't
question.
We don't know that.
And I don't believe, and we have been in discussions, and I don't believe that any variance is gonna be
Yeah,
required
there's
for
not
the
one
other.
required for the other lot. There's enough width there.
I got a question just based on the letter from Thomas, just about whether or not there's been any consideration of changing the direction of the garage or the placement of the garage or a different way of sort of laying out the structure if you,
I guess I didn't see the letter from him. I don't know what we would,
okay, I'll read you the section that I'm referring to. I think it's this section here. Let's see here. So requesting substantial relief from the otherwise applicable 40-foot setback standard by proposing a dwelling 20 feet from the east property line and 30 feet from the west property line. By granting this degree, board should have a clear basis to conclude that a narrower footprint different garage orientation or custom design solution is not reasonable or feasible. On present record, that showing does not appear to have been made. So have you attempted to consider a different, narrower footprint for the home that would place the garage further away from the,
I mean, we looked at it, but a 35-foot wide house is a very long, skinny home. And now we're gonna be getting into, you know, the Honey Creek's right there. And that's got a floodplain that we'd have to avoid. And we had talked also about setbacks from the gravel drive. We need to stay 40 feet off the front as well.
okay?
So now,
That's what I'm asking.
yeah,
Just-
so now
just
I'm
want
down
the-
to, I
want
don't
the
have the
logic
depth
behind
or
it.
the width to build,
Okay,
so.
no, well, that's good to know then. So it sounds like you've considered those options and that they weren't really.
I think one attractive thing about how it's currently positioned is you don't just drive down Honey Creek and just see a set of garage doors with a house behind it or 3 stories. Like, by doing it the way we have it, you're just seeing the front of the house.
Front of the house, yeah. It looks, I like houses that aren't 100% garage with a house stuck behind it.
Yeah,
Except for the 18 neighbors that live down Winding Brook.
Or above it, or,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then if you, I mean, I don't know, I just think that if you turned the house, instead of having it facing,
The property just doesn't support this big of a house without the footprint. So it's either this is where it goes and we're okay with the footprint, or, right? Because I mean, because of the creek is right back behind it too.
mhm.
Because the creek runs right here. The property line is the creek.
yeah, and my point is if you turn the house sideways to avoid this issue, you're gonna push it more toward the creek, which would be an undue hardship, make it unbuildable. Or the neighbors who are complaining that they're gonna see the front of the house from conservation, if you turn it, they're gonna see it on Winding Brook. And not only that, but if you change the design that way, then they are gonna have to add a driveway off of Winding Brook, which I don't think anybody would be in favor of. I've said my piece.
I just wanted to ask that question.
We have a motion?
I would move to approve the request.
I'll support it.
Motion to approve the variance by Corday, supported by Nuttall. We'll do a roll call vote, so a vote of aye is in favor of the motion.
Aye?
Okay.
He's gonna call your name. Come
All right, we're doing the vote, oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Corte,
Aye.
DeMarco,
Aye.
I'll have to go first.
Nay.
McNamara,
Aye.
Nuttall.
Aye.
Variance passes. Next up is election of chair and vice chair.
Yes, so every year, when the fiscal year starts, April 1, is typically the time, well, by April 1, to elect a chair and a vice chair. We did not have a meeting in March. Here we are in April, and so we would request that the zoning board do an election of chair and vice chair. Certainly the same people that hold those offices now can be re-elected, as it were, unless somebody new wishes to step in. Currently, our chair obviously is Jason, and our vice chair is Harvey. So it's for you guys to decide upon and hopefully make that selection of your chair and vice chair for the coming fiscal year, which basically would be April 1 through March 31 of 2027.
Move to actually nominate Fidel McNamara and and Harvey to remain in their current positions.
Do you want to be in your current positions?
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine with it, yeah.
Just figured we'd ask.
Is there any pay difference, by the way?
No.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You get
I
paid?
honestly don't know.
yeah, the big,
If it is, it's nominal.
You know,
no, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no difference.
You've gone
No, because it did change when I was just a member, when I.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Would would that change your mind?
Well, it depends. I mean, it might be an extra beer.
Oh, he might owe us.
Do we have,
A second.
you second?
Yeah.
All right. Motion to keep the chair and vice chair positions as is for the next fiscal year by Corday, supported by Ellison Andrews. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Positions stay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you for the leadership.
Any new correspondence that we should know about?
Zoning ordinance, progress is being made. Our consultant was out of town for an extended period, but we're now going to be re-engaging with her on that. I know Bruce is part of our steering committee. We've had some issues though because James Moyer from the planning commission was part of the steering committee. He has now resigned from the planning commission as well as the steering committee. So we're not quite sure exactly how that's going to shake out, but nevertheless, that process is moving along. We also had the presentation by Notre Dame yesterday of their final report for the potential new Township Hall location. Justin was there. Thank you, sir, for attending. What else is going on? Those are kind of the biggest things. Can you think of anything else, Brent or Elaine, that we might have happening? We will have a May meeting, so may I mention, though, that Elaine has announced her retirement.
Oh, that's not.
Congrats, but what?
Congratulations.
And so, I think next month.
Big party.
the last meeting.
Every day.
So, and we will have a meeting, right, for
Yep, we have
May.
two
There are
items.
two applicants
Okay.
that will be on the agenda, so, thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Have you all seen the plans for the Notre Dame, I mean, not for Notre Dame,
The hall?
for the new hall? Yeah.
No.
No? You wanna see a book? They did a very.
You emailed us to it.
Yeah, I know that I know.
You emailed it to us, didn't
We
you?
haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
In the past,
Yeah.
probably emailed it to you
Is
all.
that online?
I don't know if it's
beautiful.
been placed on the website or not.
When's it supposed to start?
Where is it gonna be located?
That's a great question. There has been conversation
Why are you
about
holding it up?
potential groundbreaking in the fall, but
Whereabouts is it located?
Okay, the first phase was shovels in the ground last spring. This was last year,
a year ago spring.
correct?
No.
And then it went to shovels in the ground by summer, and now it's shovels in the ground by the end of the year. So,
Yeah, so who knows? The proposed location for the new Township Hall, because Notre Dame not only.
What's gonna
studied-
happen with this?
I'm sorry?
What's gonna happen with this?
That remains to be seen.
TBD. We have, no.
Oh, or a church?
No, that's gonna be in my office, because this job is gonna make me start drinking.
You just put a disco ball right.
Yeah, right.
Good.
But the location is right across from the library for the Township Hall proposal.
I think I remember that being stated a while back. I just never saw anything happening, so I thought maybe something
Should
should
be on top of the.
They've done a really nice job, I think.
Are they
When
gonna
when they
replace the
first,
farmer's
it
market
was
or
announced
no?
that they were coming in to do this, we didn't have any idea, like, well, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna, but I was impressed with them. I think everybody was pleasantly surprised, and they really embraced it as a personal project. I mean, this is just my perspective. They seem to just embrace it, put their arms around it, and they treated it as if they were building their own office space. I mean, the outer structure, the interior, we still have to get into the interior, but, yeah, they did a good job, I think.
Sounds good.
So if that's it for correspondence, I'll open it back up for public comment. No public comment. And can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Nuttall, support by Corday. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you.